Hey everybody, this is the edited version of the free workshop that I did claiming the new year. You can print the Book of Shadows that goes along with this by clicking the link down below in the description box. I really want to turn you on to the idea of living this next year from a powerful place and give you some tools to do that and plan that magical year. Okay. So the Book of Shadows, how this Book of Shadows works is we're going to go through it and you'll see that on pages 1 and 2, those are the ones that you hopefully did before class or had time to at least look at. And then we'll move on and move. If you would just turn to page 3 really quickly, you will see that there are things in regular type and then there's words in dark type. And so those are questions for you to answer later on. Those are things that we're not going to do right now in class. Those are things for you to go back to later if you want to, that can kind of just add another layer to this class. And also, once you get past, the class, hopefully you'll have some new tools to look at yourself and look at the questions in different ways. So you'll find that throughout. And I wanted to give you something to take away from here to just go a little deeper if you decided that was something that you wanted to do. So that's how this Book of Shadows works. Okay, so before we get totally going, let's take a moment to ground ourselves. So if you would just put everything down, take everything out of your hands, and take a moment to just close your eyes if you'd like. You don't have to. And just take a deep breath and feel the breath of life entering your body and your connection to the breath, your connection to your body. Let's take a moment and just quietly call your power back to yourself. Call to you, all the lists, just put those out of the way, all the places you've scattered yourself, the things that you need to do tomorrow or later, any insecurities that you have about life or fears. Let's just call all that power back from the places it's dispersed to right now and just allow it to sink back into your body. Feel your connection to this moment. And send a nice grounding cord down into the earth. Feel your connection to the divine. Exhale all your worries. As you breathe in, feel your power in your belly, your core. And just acknowledge this moment with excitement and with anticipation. All right. Welcome, welcome. When you're ready, open your eyes and come on back. All right. So I just want to say that I'm honored to share space with all of you. I'm always just so delighted by all the different souls that show up and the ways in which we share our light with one another. And it grows me out of my own skin into being bigger and more than I ever thought I could be when I have so many wonderful people show up and share their energy. So thank you so much for sharing this time with me. I am truly honored to share space with so many people. Okay, so I want to talk about the difference. And if you do a class with me, you know that I do this every single time. The difference between reason and intention. And so at the top of page 3, it says your reason for being in this class. And I would love it if you would go ahead and write down your reason for being in this class. Maybe it's, you needed to focus, you were just interested in what I was doing. I don't know what it is, whatever your reason is. My goddess, throw me a lifeline, whatever it is. Go ahead and write it down. We've got some latecomers. All right. Now we're going to take a moment and we're going to talk about intention. And intention is how we focus our mind. And intention should be something that comes from within us, not something that comes outside of us. And a lot of times our reasons are precipitated by what is outside of us. You know, we have a need, we perceive a lack, and so we reach outside of us for whatever it is. But intention comes from within. And so I want us to take a moment and listen to ourselves, listen to our spirit, whatever it is you believe, your soul, your higher self, whatever it is. Just take a nice deep breath in and maybe close your eyes and listen for what that intention is for you. And, you know, hopefully it's going to be kind of concise, just a few words. Yeah, so just take a moment and write down that intention. Really listen for it. Let it bubble up from inside of you. And it could be something totally weird. Like maybe the word laughter bubbles up and you're like, how could that possibly relate to this? Don't let your natural mind get in the way. Your body and your spirit know. Listen to that, trust that, and let that come up and out and write that down. All right, are we there? Has everybody got it? You can just wave at me. All right, I see lots of nods. Was that really difficult for anybody? You can go ahead and say yes. It's okay if it is. If you don't want to say, you don't have to as well. You never have to share here, by the way. If you are an introvert and you just don't want to share, there is no pressure. There is no judgment. You get to be yourself here. So whatever that is, it's just totally okay. Or if you're an extrovert and just don't want to share. Right. So I didn't hear any yeses, so I'm glad that something bubbled up. That's always a confirmation that we're in tune with ourselves when we can hear that still small voice within us. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about power, and just what my understanding of that is. This is not the be all end all, and everyone here is going to have different wisdom that they bring to the table from their years of being here and the guides that they work with. So I honor that. And I just want to say this is my take on power and the limited amount of time I'm going to give it here. So for me right now, I'm really spending a lot of time in the cauldron of making. I'm really sinking in. This time of the year is a call, at least if you're in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, just roll with me here. This time of year, we are descending deeper and deeper into darkness. We're just 6 days away from the solstice. And so we are headed into the beauty and the joy of the stillness of this time of year. And I feel like Mother Nature is so gracious to give us this opportunity to get still and to understand who we are. And it's so bizarre because in the Western world, everything is going crazy this time of year. It's just insanity with all of the stuff that we're doing and trying to be and trying to juggle. But that is not nature's intention. When we look around, we see that nature is calling the animals to sleep, to rest, to conserve energy. Animals are not getting fat right now. All of us are getting fat.
Yeah.
I'm eating candy and feasting. But that is not the natural way of things. The natural way of things is that we come into stillness. We conserve our energy. We rest. We even hunker down or even hibernate. Some animals hibernate until things warm up. And so in that, I am being drawn inside and I am finding the cauldron of power. And this is my connection to the crone or the dark mother, the dark goddess, the goddess that teaches us about the depth of our souls from the inside out. And so when I think of power, we see all sorts of power out in the world that we recognize outside of ourselves, people that have more money or things of the world that are the illusion of power. But true power comes from within. It comes from down here within ourselves. And it's found in that place, that cauldron that each one of us has access to when we fall out of our head into our heart and down into the depths of the earth, into the stillness and the place where All of the cares of the world slip away, and we are left alone with ourselves. And in a very busy society, it is difficult for us to find a way to cultivate that. Honestly, we have so many things that we need to do or be, or we feel that we need to do or be, that often it is incredibly an almost insurmountable task to find that stillness. But I see every day, especially as I get older, and I just care less about this stuff out here, and my face is melting off, and all of that stuff is going by the wayside. I find myself being able to not be distracted and find that power that honestly has been within me all along. So how many of you, just in the chat, how many of you are familiar with the Dark Mother, or the idea of the cauldron, the place where the primordial soup of creation is? Okay, so I'm seeing some spirit. Yes, it can be Gaia. Caradwin's cauldron, yes. This is her time. The time of the Kaliach, the time of Caradwin. So some of you may have Christian backgrounds, and you will be aware of the Genesis story when it says that darkness was upon the face of the earth, and the spirit hovered or brooded like a chicken over her eggs, over that darkness. And so there are creation stories all around the world about life coming out of the darkness, out of that place of pure potentiality and pure power. And so today we're going to explore, we're going to do a meditation today, and we're going to head on down to the cauldron together and meet up with the Dark Mother and spend some time there for a little bit. If this is new to you, I just want to say there are no rights or wrongs. There is only where you are at and who you can be in this moment, and the honesty that you bring to the table. And so there's no pressure to have any certain sort of experience here or any incredible revelation. Just trust that you're here for a reason, and what you're ready to hear, you're going to hear. And a lot of times we hear things in our body that we don't understand in our heads until later. So don't expect to get everything that happens today right now cognitively. As a matter of fact, it's so much better to get it in our bodies first, I think, because when we get things in our body, we can really truly be them and live them. Does anybody else understand that, or can I get a yes from anybody? Yeah, I'm seeing some hands. I'm seeing some. Good. All right. So let me just look at my notes, because now I've really rambled. I've got to check off where I'm at, or I will end up just going way over. I'm going to try to keep to my time. I promise everyone. Everyone knows I can do this, where I'm just like, I get so excited about being here with everyone, and then I'm, so the more we live from our primal and deep knowing, the more we find ourselves in flow with the universe, the YO universe. And this primal knowing that we have within our bodies. When I was younger, I had a sense that I had wisdom within me, and I had to dare to believe that. I had to dare to reach inside. And when I say young, I mean like 10 or 11. I would have to dare to sort of reach inside and listen to that and allow it to come forward. But the more I do that, the more I allow myself to live from this place that's primal. Like, I am created to be this person that you're seeing right here. And I'm changing in every moment, right? So I'm created because I'm coming out of pure potentiality of the divine one, the divine goddess, whatever it is you want to believe. I know that we may have some atheists here, so we may not really be into deity. But the more I live from that pure potentiality, the more I afford myself to be fresh in every moment. I'm not tied down by what I was or what I think I need to be, but I allow myself to live from this place that just is naturally born out of what I call the cauldron of making. So again, the more we find ourselves in flow with the universe providing the next steps as well as the passion. So how many of you are a little lackluster right now? Like, you're not, the fire isn't there. Go ahead. I want to hear an audible yes. Anybody out there?
Yes. Yes.
100%.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. There's some
Big
heads nodding.
time.
Nicholas says
Just
yes.
coming out of that.
Yes. Okay, good. So that, and there's a testimony right there. Yes, you can come out of it. You can come out of it. And these are natural tides. We ebb and flow, right? If we were on all the time, that would be exhausting. It really would. We need that flow. If when we look out in the world, nothing is ever on. Right now we're in winter, right? And so we're headed away, or maybe there might be somebody in Australia here. I don't know. But I think it's pretty late there or early in the morning. So maybe not. But the point is that nature doesn't show us being on full force all the time. So it's okay. However, if you're looking for passion, I would tell you, don't look outside of yourself, sink in and let yourself get more and more comfortable with the silence of being with yourself and in that primal place, because you will eventually be so marinated in the silence of that you will have passion rise up out of your being, because we can't help but be live here. I mean, we are born to live here. We are born to sing the song of our own making. You know, sometimes it's a sad song. I mean, just because I'm saying that we're passionate doesn't mean that it's always feels good, because it sure as heck doesn't. But that's part of being alive, is it's those contrasts. Without contrast, a picture is just a blur. And we as humans seek contrast in our lives to know where we begin and where other things begin, to understand that. But we also seek that contrast so that we can sink within to that primal soup and move away the boundaries that we created on ourselves, and again be reborn into something new and fresh and living. Okay, so page 4 here. Most of us know what disempowered feels like. Does anybody not know what it feels like to be disempowered in your life? Yeah, I don't think so. You either had a time in a classroom or put it on yourself or been with it doesn't matter. It's happened. More than anything, I disempower myself with my own limiting thought patterns. So most of us know what it is to be disempowered in this life. But let's take a moment. I want everybody here on page 4 to take a moment and jot down what makes you feel powerful, or when you feel powerful. What is that? Maybe you just want to jot what the feeling is. You know, what is feeling powerful to you? How does it feel in your body? Where do you feel it in your body? You know, what experiences have you had that bring you to that? All right. How's everybody feeling with that question?
Good.
Do we have more goods in there? People feeling good about that? Yeah, I've got some hands up, some waves.
Yes, feeling great.
Good. You know, it's interesting. When I slow down and I allow myself to sink in, it's not hard for me to find my power. It's just when I'm way up here in my head and out here in the world that power, you know, empowerment feels very elusive. And I often find my ego taking over, and suddenly I'm just on autopilot doing the same thing I'm always done, or living from a defensive perspective. So, you know, I think we all do that. And we're all learning how to rise above that and rise into our best selves. Okay. How many of you have done guided meditation before? Can you type in the chat yes if you've done guided meditation? Okay, lots of yeses. Good. I know that there is a portion of the world that cannot visualize in their mind. I apologize if there are some of you out here, if they're in here, it's probably a small percentage if you are, that cannot visualize. Just do your best to feel your way through what we're about to do, and just allow it to be whatever it needs to be in the moment. I'm going to ask everybody to mute themselves if they would right now. If you're not muted, go ahead and mute yourself now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you on a guided meditation. So if you would just go ahead and put everything down, get comfortable. Some of us like to sit up, some of us like to lay down. Some of us like to close our eyes completely. Some of us like to have a soft focus on something. Whatever it is for you, whatever is right for you, this is what needs to be happening right now. Okay. All right, let's take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Nice cleansing breath. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Just relax your body and your mind. As we take this journey, if your mind wanders off, just bring it back. It's okay, it happens. No need to judge that. Just be present with yourself. Relax your body in perfect love and perfect trust. Sink from your head into your heart. This is the place of community and belonging. As you breathe, allow your heart to open. Just hang out in your heart for a moment and feel your connection to all the hearts that are here right now. Now sink down into your seat. And with your mind's eye, let your energy stretch out, down into the earth. Maybe you see your energy extending as roots like a tree, or a stream of water, or maybe it's a beam of light. Let yourself be grounded. Feel the energy of the earth rising into you as you breathe in and heading back down into the earth as you exhale. In your mind's eye, see before you a path. It leads to the base of a mountain. As you walk towards the mountain along the path, notice what kinds of plants are around you. Is it night or is it day? Feel the air on your skin and take a deep breath, breathing in all of the smells around you. Continue your walk towards the base of the mountain. As you arrive at the base of the mountain, you notice that where the path curves to wind up the mountain, the mouth of a massive cave lays open before you. The cave beckons you forward and you enter. You take a step, walking deeper and deeper within. Before you, you notice tiny glowing sparks drifting in the cave that dimly illuminate the walls. As you descend deeper, you run your hands along the walls, feeling its surface. As the glowing sparks show you the way, you sense they are here to support you on your journey. Looking closely, you see them and are amazed by their true form. You arrive at what looks like an entrance with markings carved all around its edges. You study the markings. Take note of what they are. How do they make you feel? Stepping through the entrance, you enter a large, round room with high ceilings. You hear a calm voice from the center of the room welcoming you. The figure in the center stands next to a giant cauldron that bubbles and steams as the fire beneath it crackles, sending dancing light out, lighting up the walls of this sacred chamber. The light shows you that the walls have tiny alcoves carved within them, and each one contains a cup. You notice that each cup is different than the next. The figure beckons you closer. Take a moment to greet the figure before you. Approaching the cauldron that sits blazing in the fire, you gaze within. Its liquid dances with shapes and colors. It is both light and darkness at the same time. You feel its power churning and singing to you. The figure smiles at you, and you know that this is the cauldron of making. What lies within is pure potentiality and raw power. Drink, you hear within your mind, as the being nods, motioning to the walls around you. Instinctively, you move towards the cups in the wall to find the one that belongs to you. Once you find your cup, take a moment to marvel at its shape, its size, and ornamentation. This cup is perfect. It has been fashioned just for you. You return to the cauldron. The figure nods in approval and gestures to the liquid within. You dip your cup down and retrieve the elixir. Take a moment to recognize this gift in your own way. Then you drink, closing your eyes. You feel the liquid pouring into you. Drinking it all, each sip seems to spread out in your body, filling you with power. Notice what feelings arise as the gift of power fills you. Are there fears, joy, concerns, ideas? Are there words, pictures, or silence? Do not judge the feelings, just notice them. Allow the power to fill you completely. You feel a touch on your arm and open your eyes, seeing the figure before you smiling. As you go to offer the cup back, the figure instructs you to keep the cup. It is yours. You notice that the cup is full again, and instinctively you know it will never be empty. Take a moment and thank the being before you. And with your cup, begin climbing up and out of the cave. Continue to follow the lights, running your hand along the cave walls, climbing ever higher with the power of creation coursing through your veins. When you reach the entrance to the cave, walk back to the place you began your journey from. There's no rush. Take your time. When you find yourself ready, wiggle your fingers and toes, open your eyes, and record what is important from your journey. There is space on page 5 to record this if you did not know that. Jenny says, wow. I'm going to give you guys just a couple more moments to jot down anything that feels important to you that stood out. If you can remember any of the symbols around the door or what they meant to you, if anything was spoken to you, make sure to write that down. I always think I'll remember these things and then I don't. Does everybody have everything written down? You can always come back later. I don't want to cut, if you're really deep in it, I don't want to cut you off. Okay. So Now what we're going to do is we're going to break out into rooms of 3. And so we're about to get deeply personal with one another. And I just want to have a moment to just put this out there that we're here to be active listeners to one another without judgment. Each one of us is on our own path. And I want this to be a safe space for everybody to share. So I'm going to ask that unless someone in the group asks for an opinion, please don't render it. Just listen. Allow people to have you as the person who's holding space for them to speak and be their unique expression of self. And so as you come into this breakout room, you can share something that was important from the vision to you. Maybe there's something that you realize that you want to learn about yourself, or something that you did learn, something you learned about power, or just something that you want to share that was uniquely powerful for you personally. It might even just be that you managed to do the journey. Do not despise small beginnings, even the smallest thing that is important for you to share. So we've got 4 per room. And so as soon as you get in that room, I want somebody to be like, I'll be timekeeper. Because if we don't have a timekeeper, it's not going to go so well. Again, share what you're comfortable with. I hope that you'll be brave enough to have some vulnerability. I just want to put this out here. You never have to see these people again. So just go ahead and lay it on the people, okay? I learned that a long time ago. You just go ahead and say what you need to say. If you have something that's bursting to come out, say it. If you experienced fear and you need to voice that fear to get it out, sometimes when we voice a fear and get it out, it just like dissipates. It's like whoosh. Oh, I needed to get that out of me. I was holding that in and it was holding me back. So on page 6, we have the shoulds and gets page. And so my life is filled with all sorts of shoulds. I wondered when nobody was answering. I'm like, God, everybody's so quiet. Usually people are chatty. Okay. So I have a list of shoulds that come up for me immediately. This page you're going to do on your own after the class if you decide you want to do that. So the first thing that comes to mind when I think about my list of shoulds for next year is I should eat better and lose some weight. Probably exercise, like these are my list of shoulds. But I always say, don't should on yourself. It's stinky. It's not a good thing to do. Our shoulds are usually born out of fear or shame or guilt. And so they're really not motivating, and they don't come from a place of recreation. And so they're just not very powerful, and they tend to just peter out. I should go to the gym. And so we get a membership and then we go for a month, and there's just not enough personal power there to motivate us. So I encourage you to make a list of shoulds on the left, and then to turn them into gets. So I should exercise. And then I turn that into a get. I actually get to be present with my body. I get to feel its power and enjoy being a part of it and see what it can do. And I know because I actually enjoy exercising when I get in the habit of it, that this is very true for me. So later on, I encourage you to do the shoulds and gets page. And again, I think it's always interesting to see the first should that comes up on your page, like the first thing that comes to the top of your mind. Because when we reframe it into something that we get to do, we're able to find power to do that because there's excitement there. And we can sink within ourselves and find power for that rather than shoulding all over ourselves. Okay, on page 7, this is where we're going to actually list a couple things. And I have page 7, 8, and 9 are about accomplishments for the year. And you'll see that at the top of this page, I thought we'd do the magical ones here. So magical or spiritual, whatever language it is that you use around this, all of us have different languages that we've developed over the years that help us work with ourselves. I want to, at this moment, before you sit down to write the list of, maybe 5 different magical accomplishments that you're hoping to have this year, take a moment to invite your spirit team, your guides, your ancestors, maybe it's higher self, whoever it is that you work with in order to help you, you know, and of course, I always invite those who are committed in love to my highest good, right? We don't invite sick ancestors. We invite those who are healed. So just write down five accomplishments for the year that you might want to make. And it could be just spiritual. Maybe you want to read a certain book, want to study something. Colleen, do you have, oh, wait, no, I guess this is somebody trying to get in. Any questions on this? Does this seem pretty straightforward? If you don't have 5, that's fine too. But these are just ideas. Now, what I want you to do is take a moment and remember your meditation and remember your body feeling filled with power. And this power is the power that belongs to you. It's the power that is completely yours, and it's raw and it's ready to be actualized. And now I want you to take that power and hold it up against your list and see, are there 2 things on your list that seem to resonate, that are in alignment with that power, that feel like, yeah, that's a yes. If something is not on there, maybe something will cry out from your spirit that is in alignment with that power. That can be on your list of 2, just 2. All right. Okay. Later on, I want to encourage you. It says at the bottom, this is the part for later. Journal on how you will feel when you achieve these things. Concentrate on the personal development aspect of these accomplishments. So again, it's less about doing, it's more about being. When we turn our focus towards being, the doing comes later. Too often, we attempt to do things in order to be something. And this is just something that's put on us from the time we're young. We're going to go to high school and we're going to be this. We're going to go to college and then we're going to be this. But you want to be coming from that being place. So list the disciplines you already possess that support you in arriving at these desires. List the disciplines you wish to develop in order to accomplish these goals. Are these in alignment with your personal power, or are you wanting them to fill a hole or to conform to someone else's idea of success or accomplishment? So these are just something to kind of take these into later on. And then page 8 is about abundance. And abundance is not about things, but it's abundance of self, right? And so moving into abundance. And again, that's that being, having a being focus, coming from that place of power, you know, from the cup, from the cauldron, from the place that has now filled you, that bit that you need. And I want to encourage you, if you need to go take another drink out of that cup in order to answer these questions or make it through the day, remember that you've always got your cup and you can always, you know, take a drink from that at any time. Then on page 9, I've given you just a blank. If there's something that you want to put in there, maybe you want to do physical goals, you know, maybe you have travel goals, I don't know, whatever you want to put in there. Okay. So before we move on, I just want to remind you that our accomplishments, air quotes, accomplishments, are about honing your being, living from your power, not striving for what is outside of yourself. When we are striving for something outside of ourselves, we are coming from a place of lack and a place of disempowerment. Everything that's calling to us outside has something inside that's mirrored, that is wanting to be answered. So come back to the self, come back to answering that question. It's okay if it's scary to be in that place and look at why you want that thing. I have so many things. I had a really tough dad. He loved me, but he was the perpetual black rain cloud. And so too often I find myself trying to qualify in life. And that's because I always had to qualify for that parent. And I don't want to make it out like he was this horrible person or something, but you know, he was broken like the rest of us. He was dealing with his own generational curses and things that he needed to work out in this lifetime. And I was a part of that. And I'm blessed to have been a part of that. But remembering that we can often fall into old stories that want to keep us striving, constantly reaching for the ring that's out of reach is a trap. Whereas sinking back into our power and enjoying we are right now can often be the gateway to that next level of understanding ourselves and appreciating the beauty of what we have in this world and what we bring by simply being ourselves. So I do want to talk really briefly about what I'm offering next year, some things that you might want to be a part of. You can go to tarotandwitchery.com, and on that front page, there's a long list of the things that I'm offering next year. I'll be offering the liminal class again, and that's about tapping into liminal spaces and acknowledging how you can find liminal spaces all around you and how liminal spaces are places of power that we can then utilize to reinvent ourselves. The one class that I'm really excited about is the Woodland Path. And this is a class where it's going to be it'll be 4 weeks and then a week off for us to really assimilate what's going on. And so each month will be something different that we study. And there'll be different voices that are brought into that class. And the purpose of it is to pick up something at the beginning of the month and explore. But the purpose of this is for all of us to do the work together. There's going to be a place for discussions. And then at the end, there'll be a get together. And I am limiting those class sizes on that because I just really want there to be the ability to get to know each other a little bit more. So the Woodland Path, and you can see on there, I've outlined the next 3 classes, what they'll be about. So you might want to, you might like one of those. I'm going to do a free book club. And so the first book that we'll be reading in January is If Women Rose Rooted. I just started it and I thought, no, I want to do this with a group of people. This just looks so good. That's totally free. And there's a place in the Discord to discuss it. And then I think at the end, we'll have a get together where we just talk about it. But every week in the Discord, there'll be a place to like post your takeaway. And I might post a question for the week, like something like, hey, what did you think about this? So we'll have a place to discuss that. And at the end, we'll get together and kind of chat on how the book changed us. Did you have something to say?
Yeah, I took the liminal class and I don't remember, it got lost. The Discord server, how to access that. Was that available for anybody who took one of your classes?
It's available. Yeah, it's available. For those of you in the Ancestral Divination, there's a private thread on there. So there will be some private threads that appear on there for classes, but the book club's just going to be open to the whosoever. I'm going to be doing some mentorship this next year. So I'm going to be doing more one-on-one work. If that's something you're interested in, I'll be announcing that. And then I think I'm actually going to do a small cohort of people that will go through and cover different things, but it'll be on a deeper level, journeying group together, and then one-on-one sessions that will be done. So that's coming up next year. I am doing a Befriending the Tarot course. That's a beginner tarot course that's coming up. Has anybody done Unlocking the Cards with me? That class is super fun. If you struggle to put your reading together or you want to learn how to read intuitively, I guarantee by the end of this class, you will feel so much more confident in your readings and putting the cards together. That's a really fun class, and I've done that before. So the registration for that is open right now, and the registration for the Woodland Path is open. Okay, done with that, because I'm like racing here to get on to yes, we have enough time. We're going to go over a little bit because I really want to have some breakout rooms. We're going to move on to page 10. And you're going to grab your deck or your runes or whatever divination you want to be using. You could just be journaling your answers too. If we have like a spirit team or deity that we work with. Okay, so just taking a moment to breathe into the beauty of that power of the cup that you just drank from. Feeling that coursing through your veins, knowing that power is accessible to you for the next year. We're going to go through and we're going to do the first 2 questions slowly. And you'll see on page 10, there's a place for you, the little square for you to write down what card you draw. And then the question. So we're going to start off with, what energy is supporting me this year. So let's think about the word support for a moment before we draw a card, right? A table is supported by 4 legs. It sits firmly. A house that doesn't shake has a firm foundation. It is supported, right? So this is the energy that is adding this support to you for the year, right? So we're going to draw a card for that. Take your time, do it however you like to, and then go ahead and write down the card. And then anything that you think is really important to note. Our first impressions are so important with a card or any divination, honestly, with runes. Maybe you see a picture, maybe you notice something, maybe you're repulsed, maybe you're like, oh, hell no, I don't want to be supported by that. It's whatever, just be honest. I've had it. I'm like, 10 of Swords? No. Okay, so go ahead and write down. And I'm talking to nobody. Okay, again. Are we all done? Yes, are we all done? Are we doing good? We have everything written down we need to? Okay. Question number 2, what aids me in accessing my power this year? So let's talk a little bit about access. If we have partial access to something, that doesn't feel very good. Or if something is guarded, doesn't feel open. I'm talking about the kind of access that is an open road, like the all access pass. Like you've got the backstage pass. You get to meet the band. You get to go to the after party. They're going to actually roll out the red carpet for you. We're talking like access. So this is an all access pass. This card that you're drawing is your all access pass to your power this year. So, again, breathing in, drawing your card, taking a moment to journal the first things that come to mind and the ways in which you feel about that. Maybe you have some immediate concerns or doubts. That's okay. Noting those things, I think it's really important for us to be honest about doubts that we have so that we can really allow ourselves to face that. So this is your all access power. Okay, so before we move on, what I want to do is I want to, again, break out into breakout rooms. We're going to go into these breakout rooms. And again, you're going to share what feels right to you to share. Like maybe it's a concern that you have. Maybe it's something that came up. Maybe it's something you're excited about. Like, wow, I'm really excited that I got this card. Maybe I'm really confused about this card. Again, hold space. Since we are doing cards, some of you may be more adept in this than others. If you want somebody else's thoughts, if you want the group's thoughts, go ahead and ask. But by all means, if someone does not ask, don't offer. Again, it's about respecting. Hopefully you get some new people in your group that you can share with. So again, something you're excited about, something that you're concerned about, whatever it is you want to share, 2 minutes each. And then a couple minutes to just chat. Yeah, I hope that was good and you got some insight and enjoyed meeting other people. We're going to go ahead and do our next 2 cards here. Is everybody here? Am I still getting people? I think I've got everybody. So what aids me in directing my power? So I would urge you to think about the director of a symphony, right? And okay, over there and silently quiet, okay, and loud, bring it up, okay, so we are the director. What is going to aid you in directing your power in the coming year? Again, remembering the elixir that's flowing through your brain, it's flowing through your brain too, your veins right now, and that power, and drawing a card from that place of power. All right, are we ready to move on to the last question? I always put something in like this. I think our fears are very important. When I do a reading for clients, I always have a hopes and fears card. Our greatest hope is also our greatest fear. And that's because when we hope, we are thinking about the power that we want to access. And so our fear is directing us to a place of power. And so this year, what fear am I confronting this year when I wield my power? And so for sure, when we get really powerful, old stories are going to come up. Let's take a gander at what that might be. Again, get your timekeepers, or just be aware that each person is going to be sharing for 2 minutes about what stands out most with their cards. And then there'll be a little bit of time at the end for sharing. We'll come back and we'll wrap it up. I'll stop the recording, and then we will have some time for just chatting as people. And I wanted to ask a couple questions from everyone here. Is that good? It's so neat to meet new people. I love jumping into rooms. It's so much fun. All right. So, as we come to a close here, and I think we're down to, well, we managed to keep 36 here till the end. That's pretty good. For those of you that are watching this on the recording, I just encourage you to jump into one of these live calls at some point, because interacting with other people is so much fun. It really is a lot of fun to hear what other people think and how they view things and the angles that they come at. It just really helps for me to open my eyes. I always say I was a teacher for years, and every year at the beginning of the year, I would say, I want to let everybody know that I'm your teacher, but I'm here to learn from you, because, it's a two-way street. So we're in a soup together, enjoying the light that each one of us brings and sheds and shares. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And I hope that if you're watching this, you'll continue and do the rest of the worksheets, and then we'll have a little chat in here.